You've been knocked down and got up again. In a corner, you're surrounded, no defenders. Whoa, you've hit your fury and kept it in. But it's time now, you ignite and turn to embers. Like a phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn. A thirst and desire, you transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes. Phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn. A thirst and desire, you transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes.
Electric Boogaloo.
You see the truth behind the veil, and you know that they're just looking for attention. Oh, you don't let the ruthlessness prevail. Oh, it's time now, light your fires for ascension. Like a phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn. A thirst and desire, you transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes. Phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn. A thirst and desire, you transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes. Phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn. A thirst and desire, you transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes. Phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn. A thirst and desire, you transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings to rise from the ashes.
Bittersweet and I'm walking slow. Sensitive, feel the afterglow. Looking for things that I can't control. Fear from my past, cause it always shows. Do I wanna try? Can I let it go? Running from the past, wanting to be sure. Chaos in my mind, constant deja vu. But every time it comes back to you. Whoa, I'm still falling. Whoa, but it tastes bittersweet. Whoa, I keep on falling. Whoa, I like the taste of it.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Gameweek 12 deadline stream. I know it has been a while since our last upload, but we are back. We've been very busy over the last couple of weeks with school exams and all that, finishing up school now. So over the Christmas period we should have plenty of content coming our way. We'll be aiming to do 3 to 4 videos a week plus a couple of streams there as well. So there is going to be plenty of more FPL content coming in the future. Obviously at the moment we have been very busy, that's why we haven't been uploading.
Yes, Daddy.
Unfortunately, Daddy Inks is not going to feature in the squad this week. But here is the current team that we've got at the moment. It's Steer and Sanchez in goals. Obviously, Sanchez is out with the red flag. He did get himself a red card in Gameweek 11. But overall, I'm liking the team at the moment. We have made 2 changes this week. We've brought in Gallagher and Harry Kane, which I think are 2 fairly good signings to the squad. And I think if we look at the starting lineup at the moment, it's going to be Sanchez. We are going to tank the no points this week because we could switch to the likes of Ramsdale, but this week he's facing Liverpool away anyway, so he's probably only going to get 1 to 2 points. Otherwise, the other 10 players on the pitch are looking fairly solid. It is some pretty decent fixtures this week. Obviously, the worst fixture probably Rafinha against Spurs away, and then Rudiger against Leicester away. But other than that, Livramento does get a start. On the bench, it is the Arsenal double up of Saka and White. I don't think there's going to be too many returns from those players in this game week as Liverpool are looking very good at the moment. If you haven't dropped a vote on the poll as well, let us know how your Game Week 12 captaincy decision is lining up at the moment. And if you have any questions or anything you guys want to drop in the chat, please feel free. If you guys want to drop your team in the chat as well, feel free to do so. Looking at team news, especially for the Leicester-Chelsea game, it looks like the outs are going to be Tielemans, Lukaku and Kovacic are the main ones.
Such a dead chat. Such a dead chat.
Question in the chat, who would you bench out of Jimenez, Rafinha and Mbeumo? Well, there was slight injury doubts over Jimenez. I'd probably bench Rafinha if I had to bench any one of them though, because Spurs away is a very difficult fixture. I think West Ham at home, I think it's not too bad for Jimenez. West Ham are obviously a decent defensive side, but they have conceded a lot of goals recently and is a home fixture. And then Mbeumo's got a great fixture of Newcastle, so I wouldn't be benching him either. Kane, Gallagher and Region and Rudiger to Trent next week, or Vardy as P. Louise, or Rudiger to Trent, Wilson, Gallagher or James. Captain Salah or Kane? At the moment we've got Salah on captaincy, but they're definitely both good options for sure. Salah price at 13 million now. I do think he has been performing very well against Arsenal at home in the past. It is a fixture that he does historically fairly well in. Side Heyman has it going. Donacha, Vardy, Havertz, Aspi out for Kane, Gallagher, Region, and Rudiger to Trent next week. Or Vardy, Aspi, Louise, or Rudiger to Trent, Wilson, Gallagher, or James. I'm happy with Vardy, Havertz, Aspi out for Kane, Gallagher, Region. I think that's fine. Rudiger to Trent next week. I think it is necessary to have Trent in the side as well. If you look at Rudiger's fixtures, United, Watford, West Ham. It's not the greatest next 3, but Chelsea defence is still fairly solid. Riyadh says, hey mate, Alan St. Maximin and Jota. or Zaha and Wilson? I think ASM and Jota's probably better because I do think Jota's going to be playing in striker this week against Arsenal at home, so there is potential for those attacking returns there for him. And you've still got the Newcastle attack covered with St. Maximin there, so I do think St. Maximin and Jota. If you guys have any other questions that you want to drop in the chat, feel free. Here's the team, and then we'll go back onto the full squad.
The thumbnail on the desktop and drop it to my phone. On my desktop and drop it.
If you haven't yet, drop a vote on the poll who you guys are going to be captaining for this game week. I do think it's going to be majority Salah or Kane. At the moment, we are leaning towards Salah because he's got a good record against Arsenal, especially in home fixtures as well. We know he's good at home. Looking at team news as well, it is Tillemans out and Lukaku and Kovacic out in the first game against Leicester and Chelsea. Other team news, Douglas Luiz set to be out for Aston Villa. Obviously, Sanchez is suspended. Crystal Palace, Eze and Anderson are in the squad for Crystal Palace, which is interesting in their game against Burnley. Other games, Norwich versus Southampton. Livramento should be available. Pukki and Norman should be fit as well. Liverpool-Arsenal game, there is some big news. Sadio Mane should be available, which is interesting because he was previously looking like he was going to be out. Robertson and Henderson are being assessed. Firmino is still confirmed out. And for Arsenal, Aubameyang and Partey are being assessed. City-Everton, it looks like Foden and Grealish are both doubts and De Bruyne is confirmed unavailable. Everton, Calvert-Lewin, Decorate, Davies and Gomez all ruled out. Should I do Vardy and Rafinha to Kane and Gallagher? I could also afford to just do Vardy to Kane. I think I'd probably just do Vardy to Kane at the moment. It's probably the right transfer. I still think Rafinha is a great pick, even though he's got Spurs away this week. After that, he's got Brighton, Palace, Brentford. So I think it could be a good chance just to hold Rafinha for his next 4 and then maybe switch to Gallagher after that. Because as good as Gallagher's been, I do think Rafinha is going to be a good player over the next 4 weeks or so. Speaking of Rafinha in the Spurs-Leeds fixture, it looks like Romero out. Lo Celso should also be out as well. For Leeds, Bamford and Ayling are still remaining out. Start Rafinha or Livramento? That's a very tough decision. We've got them both starting. If I could pick one, I'd honestly go for Livramento because I do think Southampton can get themselves a clean sheet. I think a Southampton clean sheet is probably slightly more likely than a Rafinha attacking return. Captain Cancelo. Yeah, that's also another differential punt that a couple of people might go for. Everton at home. City did beat them like 5-0 or something on the last game week of last season. So I can see Cancelo being a decent differential captain this week. If he does get the clean sheet, then he could give himself a couple of bonus points as well. There's always the chance of that attacking return, so he's also a good punt. Looking at the poll at the moment, it looks to be Salah is the preferred captain with a 64% pick. Kane second most popular at 15%, then Son third. Start Livramento or Emile Smith-Rowe. I'd probably start Livramento, to be honest. I think Liverpool away is a very difficult fixture for Arsenal, and if we look at our team here, that's why we've gone with the bench of Saka and Ben White. So I don't think there's going to be many attacking returns for Arsenal in this game. And I do think Livramento has a chance for a clean sheet against Norwich away as well.
You have to use those like the white boots, the white, like red and yellow ones. This is the new ones that they have. Like, I love to have the new goalkeeper gloves. This is the new shoes. And those. Ooh. That was the few shot. Yeah. Phil's. Those Phil's new ones. It's pretty sexy.
But yeah, at the moment we do have Saka and White on the bench against Liverpool away. So, which two to start from Rafinha, Livramento, or Huang? It's tough. I think I'd start Livramento and then either go for Rafinha or Huang.
It's empty. What's the name stuff? Text to the thing.
If I could pick one, I might go for Rafinha over Huang because he's provided more consistent returns. In terms of fixture difficulty, I would say they're fairly similar. Maybe Huang's got the slightly easier fixture, but Rafinha has obviously recorded 50 FPL points this year, 5 goals.
Robin Ghostin's book.
Bye, cheers, mate. No worries. Anytime, it's all good. Hunter, Tony Mbeumo, and Livramento. Two of them. It's a good question. It's tough not to go past Tony and Mbeumo double up for this week. I think if you're going to pick two out of those three, you go for Tony and Mbeumo. Start Huang or Tsimikas? That's also interesting because I do think Tsimikas might start if Livramento's out. If Robertson's out. I'll try and find some more information on the Robertson injury, whether he's confirmed out or not. It does look he's a doubt at the moment with a hamstring injury. I mean, you could start Livramento, and if he doesn't play, then he doesn't play. You just get Huang to come off the bench. So if you could just start Tsimikas, and then if Robertson doesn't play, then you can have Huang come off the bench.
Where's the bottle?
Kane this week and Trent next, or Trent and Gallagher or James this week. If you go for a player between Kane and Trent this week, I think Kane is probably the better option, despite not being in good form. It's a good fixture. Or Trent and Gallagher or James this week. If I could go two, I'd go Trent and Gallagher for this week. I think Reece James this week, it's an alright fixture to bring him in, but there's definitely better fixtures for Chelsea. They've got a home fixture in Gameweek 13. It is against Manchester United, but they didn't score against City. Watford away is good. Hunter, Rafinha and Kane, or Son and Jota. I'd probably go Son and Jota. Son's been in a lot better form than Kane this season. I think a Liverpool attacker is very useful, especially Jota's fixtures this week are a lot better than Rafinha's fixture, and I do think Son should outscore Kane. Sugar Bender, bench Smith Rowe or Huang. I personally bench Smith Rowe. I think it's going to be difficult for the Arsenal players to get the attacking returns against Liverpool. At the moment, we have benched both our Arsenal assets of Saka and Ben White against Liverpool away. It is probably the hardest fixture at the moment for any player. And Huang, he has got himself a couple of goals this year. We can just check real quick. FPL points. He has got himself 4 goals. He hasn't scored for the last 2 weeks. You get a goal against Leeds away. I think I'd be happy to start Huang this week, to be honest. I think it's probably a better option this week. There is the full squad at the minute anyway. Agree, mate. Cheers. No worries. All good. I think, yeah, as good as form Smith Rowe's been in, Liverpool away is a tough fixture to get an attacking return in, for sure. At the moment on the poll, Salah 62%, Kane 19%. He's sort of creeped up a bit. There was a comment before about Cancelo as the differential captain. He could also be a decent shout against Everton at home. City did destroy Everton at home last year in the last game week of the season. So I do believe the deadline tonight is going to be at 10 p.m. So that means there's 38 minutes left to confirm the squad. Salim says Captain Mo Salah. Yeah, I think it's probably a good call. Salah is our captain this week. We have got Kane and Cancelo in the squad, who are other contenders, but I do think Salah is in such good form at the moment. And I think so many people are going to be captaining him. It's difficult not to captain him because you're going to have a serious punish in rank if he does well and you don't have him in. Was away for a bit, but do you think Foden will start? Here's a doubt. I can check the predicted lineups by Fantasy Football Fix to check his percentage chance of starting according to them. They're generally fairly good at predicting these starting lineups. At the moment, they've got him at a 50% chance of starting, which is... It's kind of hard to say because the front six they're saying is going to be Bernardo Silva, Gundogan, Rodri, Jesus, Torres, Sterling. I think if he is fit to play, he will be in for Torres. They've got Grealish at a 0% chance of starting, so there's no job competition there. I think if Foden's fit, he'll play. But it is a 50-50 call at the moment. It's hard to go either way. Just got Jota. Is it still advisable captaining Salah from the same team? Other options in my team: Cancelo, Livramento, Foden, Mbeumo, Tony, and Armstrong. I do think Salah captain is the right call. There's obviously a couple of other decent differential shots this week of Cancelo and Kane. But it's, as I said before, it's a high risk not going for Salah as the captain this week. Obviously, because he's got such a high ownership. If we check his ownership, 71%. That is one of the highest ownerships I've seen of any player in FPL. So I do think it's going to be a high amount of people captaining him. So it is risky to go against him. Start Livramento or Smith Rowe. Had a similar question before. We are benching the Arsenal assets this week personally, with Saka and Ben White are both getting benched. So for that reason, I have to say start Livramento. Kevin, my rank is 621k. It's a very good start to the season. I think if you can get yourselves around that 500k, 600k mark, it gives you a good chance to push in to maybe the top 100 and 150k by the end of the season. That's a very good rank. Congratulations, mate. Hunter, Jimenez for Kane, and Rafinha for Son. Does that mean you're bringing in the Spurs assets? I'd probably go Rafinha out, Son in, because if we're looking at Everton, Leeds fixtures, their 4 next fixtures are okay. Then Chelsea, City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa is very difficult. Wolves are actually in a similar position. West Ham, Norwich, Burnley is a good next 3. Then Liverpool, City, Brighton, Chelsea, which are 4 of the best defences in the league. It's tough to say, but I do think Son's been performing better than Kane this season. That's why I go for him. Kevin, is it worth a punt at the rank of 621k? I don't think it's as... You don't necessarily need a huge differential player to climb the ranks in FPL. As long as you stay consistent, keep a fairly solid team. You can have a couple of moderately differential players, but it's not necessary to go for huge captain punts or anything like that. I think it's still safe to play the Salah captaincy this week. There's a couple of good mini differentials. I guess Jimenez is a nice one at 9.8%. Gallagher's always there, 20.9% ownership. It's still fairly low. Rafinha has got a couple of good fixtures left. His ownership sitting around 20% as well. So you can always go for those players with a 10 to 15% ownership that have still got good fixtures. Even the likes of Armstrong or Callum Wilson could be good differential forwards as well. Speaking of, Kane's got a 10.4% ownership, so he is also a nice shout. Adash says start Bowen. Yeah, he's been in great form recently. We can have a look at Bowen. He did score against Wolves away last season. I was checking in that game. It was Lingard, Fornals and Bowen were the goal scorers. It was 3-2 West Ham. And yeah, Bowen, 2 goals, 6 assists this season. He's definitely one that's flown under the radar. 55 FPL points. He is one of the highest scoring midfielders. And he's got himself a goal and 3 assists in his last 2 games, so he's in definitely in good form. And he's been picking up bonus points in his last 2 matches as well. His next couple of fixtures are difficult, but for a team that's in such good form like West Ham and Bowen's personal good form, not a bad shout. Captain Ronaldo, Salah or Jesus. Ronaldo's also a decent shout, actually. I forgot about Ronaldo because his ownership's been decreasing by quite a lot. Obviously, Watford is a great fixture. It's definitely a better fixture than Mo Salah, but I like the form of Mo Salah at the moment. Start Rudiger or Tony if you had the option to bench one. If I could bench one, it's tough to say because Tony's not been in great form. I think you still have to go for starting Tony, though, because Newcastle's a better fixture. Leicester away, it's an alright fixture. Leicester haven't been the best this season, but there is potential for Leicester to score in that game. Rudiger's obviously not offering the highest attacking potential. So I think it could be Brentford's week this week, potentially against Newcastle. Van der Beek, my captain, yeah, solid shout. If he starts, solid shout. Even off the bench, goals for Van der Beek this week, I reckon. Is Lloris a good option instead of Mendy for the coming fixture for this week? For this week specifically, I guess you could say Lloris is better. But I wouldn't just make a transfer based on this week. I think you got to take into account the overall fixtures, and Chelsea do have a better defence than Spurs. Like, although this run's not ideal, Chelsea's defence is so good that I'd still keep the Chelsea defenders through this period of Leicester away and Manchester United at home. Because Watford away is a great fixture. West Ham away, not the greatest fixture, but still viable. Leeds at home is good. Everton at home is good. Wolves, Villa and Brighton, all good fixtures as well. So I still think I wouldn't necessarily want to jump off that Chelsea defence. Especially as a goalkeeper transfer. Goalkeeper transfers aren't the most ideal. I bought Wilson 2 days ago to avoid price rise, and now I can only get Son and can't get Kane. Did I make a mistake? Honestly, having Son instead of Kane is probably better, to be honest, because Son's got a lot more points than Kane this year, and he's looking better. The main reason why we went for Kane is because it was easier for our team. In some ways, even though Son is £2 million cheaper than Kane, he's more difficult to work into the team because there's a lot of high ownership mid-price midfielders where it's like a 4 mil to 5 mil upgrade to be able to get Son in. Whereas a lot of people either have Ronaldo or Vardy in the forward lines, they can just do a premium forward swap to another premium forward. So I do think having Son would be my preferred Spurs option, but Kane was just easier to get into the squad for us. And Wilson's a decent differential punt as well. Like, he's got good fixtures coming up, and he's decent when he does start. Double City defense or Cancelo Livramento. I do think this could be the week where you go double City defense. Saying that, I still think Livramento will get returns, and that's why he is starting in our team. But I think if you could have a good opportunity for a double City defense, it could be this week. Obviously, if Diaz is the other City defender, it's not ideal because he doesn't offer much attacking potential. Whereas if City get the clean sheet, Diaz probably gets 6 points. If Southampton get the clean sheet, Livramento's probably got a higher chance of bonus points plus attacking returns, if you think about it from that standpoint. Ritesh says coming weeks. Well, I'd still hold on to many, to be honest, because I'm not too sure about the Spurs defence. Obviously, Conte should shore them up at the back a bit. But Chelsea's defence has been tried and tested, so I think I'd still trust Mendy. Region or Rudiger to start? That's a tough question this week. Maybe Region could be a slightly better option because he does offer more attacking potential and probably got a better fixture from a defensive standpoint. I mean, we're still starting Rudiger in our squad because there's always the chance that Chelsea pull off the clean sheet because Leicester haven't been in the best form recently. But purely for this week, maybe Reguilon slightly better. Is Zaha worth getting? I do think if you're going for a Crystal Palace attacker, a midfielder / attacker, I'd go for the likes of Gallagher or maybe even Edouard. I think Zaha, spending the extra one or so million on Zaha may not be worth, especially considering Gallagher's great form at the moment. Zaha has been impressive this year. 4 goals, 1 assist, 48 FPL points. He is 7 mil. Gallagher is just 5.9. And he's got 62 points. So he's outscored him by 14. I think Gallagher for that around 1 million cheaper could be slightly better value. Bench Livramento or Rafinha. I think this week you might want to bench Rafinha and start Livramento. We've got them both starting in our team, but I think purely based on fixture, Livramento might be a better shout for the clean sheet points and maybe an attacking return. Whereas Spurs away is not the easiest fixture, as I would expect Spurs to hold the ball. And obviously with Conte as their manager, they are probably more solid defensively. Aria says start Henry or Damari Gray. Henry's got Newcastle away. Damari Gray has got City. I think I'd start Henry for that case then. I think City away, one of the toughest fixtures in FPL at the moment. Shukran bench 1 out of Livramento, Diaz and Hwang. That's a very tough decision, to be honest. I'll probably bench Livramento in that case because I think Diaz and Hwang are both good shouts. Hwang has been decent this year. He's got 4 goals. I think I'd start Diaz and then either choose between Livramento and Hwang. I'd be slightly leaning towards Hwang, but I do think Livramento could get some points this week. After Chelsea, what United players are worth getting? Yeah, that's a good question actually, because there's going to be a lot of people looking to bring in the United assets. I personally think Cristiano Ronaldo is obviously always a good pick. And he should be fairly easy to get on as well because a lot of people are holding a premium forward position at the moment. So you could go for Ronaldo and maybe Luke Shaw. I'm not too keen on the Manchester United defence, but I think they should get themselves some clean sheets over that run. And Luke Shaw's probably got the best attacking potential out of their defenders. So I think Shaw and Ronaldo would probably be the only two I'd go for. I wouldn't really say Fernandes, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend a double up on the Manchester United defence. The only other one potentially is Mason Greenwood, but his minutes could also be limited over that run. Hwang is a good player instead of Dennis. Yeah, I do agree. I think Hwang's playing the better side where he's going to get more chances. And it looks like King's running the show now for Watford at the moment. So I think Hwang's been in great form this year and is good value, so I go for him. If we look at the starting lineup at the moment, I'll show you guys. Sanchez goals. Obviously, he's not going to be playing, but we're just going to tank the no points this week and have him back in after that. Because he's got Leeds at home, West Ham away, Southampton away. It's a decent next 3. And he's got 2 home fixtures after that as well. Obviously, goalkeeper transfers aren't the priority at the moment as we did bring in Gallagher and Kane this week. Otherwise, it's Trent, Cancelo, Rudiger, Livramento in the defence. Salah, Rafinha, Gallagher in the midfield, and Kane, Jimenez, Tony up top. I am liking the forward line this week. It's probably the strongest position in the squad at the moment. Otherwise, Rafinha against Spurs away is not great, and Rudiger against Leicester away is probably not the best fixture, and of course Sanchez isn't starting. We do hopefully double up on the Arsenal players, so if we do have a player that doesn't take to the pitch, Jimenez was rumoured to potentially be out. According to the Wolves, Jimenez could be okay to start, and Marcel will be available. So we will have Saka coming off the bench if Jimenez doesn't play, which isn't the worst. Aria says, yeah, tanking the no goalie makes the most sense. Yeah, we're thinking about like replacements potentially for Sanchez, and you think Ramsdale, well, he's got Liverpool away this week, so they're probably going to score 1 or 2 points difference, which is just not worth a transfer. And you could go Southampton defence, but we've already got Livramento, so there's no need to go double up on Southampton. Aria, we have 7 of these same players. Well, yeah, I think this is a fairly template squad at the moment. There should be a slightly more differentiation when there's that United fixture on, whether people go for them or not. But I think the likes of Gallagher, Rafinha, Jimenez, Kane are all good differential plays with a 20% ownership or less. Also, Rudiger's dropped just to 17.5% ownership, so if he can return some clean sheet points and maybe some bonus points as well, could be nice. And I guess you could say Tony's slightly differential as well with a 21.3%. And it's pretty template with Salah, Cancelo, Trent. I think everyone should be having them in. And then, of course, Livramento. I went Ronaldo for captain. Thoughts? Yeah, well, it's definitely a viable choice this week. I think Watford away is a great fixture for United. And there's no reason to say Ronaldo won't score in that game. We obviously don't have Ronaldo in the squad. That's why we can't captain him. I think it's Ronaldo, Kane, Salah, Son, all good picks this week. And yeah, it's definitely worth a punt. I mean, if you want to try and get a rank rise, Ronaldo captain against Watford could be a good punt. But you, of course, run the risk if Salah does haul, it is going to be quite detrimental to the rank. But that's just FPL. You just got to go for the risk, and if it pays off, it pays off. Downgrade Chilwell to Region so that I can upgrade MacArthur to Gallagher. That's an interesting transfer plan. I can see the temptation to get rid of the Chelsea defence. I still think Chilwell's such a great pick. I think he is significantly better than Region. Obviously, if you're taking the 2 players into consideration of Chilwell and MacArthur versus Region and Gallagher, obviously Region and Gallagher will score more points, so for that reason you could go for that transfer plan. If your team's strong enough without Gallagher, I'd still want to hold on to Chilwell potentially this week. Vardy to Trent -4, or roll the transfer and get Trent next week for Havertz. It's tough to say, really. I think it's going to be unlikely Vardy gets a goal this week. I mean, watch him go score now, but Chelsea at home is a difficult fixture, and I think Arsenal at home is still a decent fixture for Liverpool to maybe get a clean sheet in, and Trent's looking like an attacking beast at the minute, so I'd probably just get him in as soon as possible. If you are taking a -4 for Trent, though, I guess that does take away the clean sheet. If you're taking a -4, you could maybe hold on to Vardy this week and then just go Trent this week. If it's a free transfer, I'd definitely bring him in. But for the -4, it is slightly less tempting. I always thought my picks were quite differential. Still feel better that my safe Rudiger pick isn't paying off while Chilwell and James are completely nailed. Well, I think I've been very happy with Rudiger so far this season. Like, he's still returned points. 9 points in Gameweek 9. He got the assist in that game, so he actually outscored... I believe he outscored Chilwell that game week. I can't remember whether he outscored Reece James or not, but he is getting more attacking returns occasionally than the other defenders. And then 6 points against Newcastle away. That was a similar score to what Chilwell got. I think he got 8 points that week, so it's still fairly similar points tally. So I've still been happy with that pick, and his price has risen by a fair bit as well. I have Reece James already, so I can give up on Chilwell. Okay, well then that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I think you can probably, yeah, you can go to Region and Gallagher in that case. That's key information there. Also, MacArthur is out with a hamstring injury. Yeah, so I think you could go Chile to Region and then MacArthur to Gallagher. It's a good play. Tony or Huang this week. I think Tony's going to be better. He's got a better fixture. They've both been slightly off recently. Huang hasn't scored in 2 weeks, but he has got 4 goals across the season. They've both got the same amount of attacking returns this year with 4 each. But I think this week, based on the fixture, Tony's got the better one, so I go for Tony. Who do I play out of Christensen, Rafinha, Jimenez? And who should I put first on my bench? So, Noah, get back to me. Do you mean play 2, bench 1? Or play 1, bench 2? Random shorts. Mbeumo is my captain. 18 points coming my way. Well, that is quite the differential pick. I think Newcastle away is definitely a good fixture. It's just that Mbeumo's been like so close to scoring without actually putting the ball in the back of the net. You just never know with him. But, I mean, if he does score, that'd be awesome for the captain. Picks. No, play 1, bench 2. Okay, in that case, I'd definitely bench Christensen because there's no doubt he's going to start and a centre back against Leicester away. If Leicester score, he's probably not going to get an attacking return. Then between Rafinha and Jimenez, I'd probably play Jimenez. He's got the better fixture, and Rafinha first bench is what I do. I think that's probably the safest way to do it. Obviously, Rafinha could be a decent shout as well, but I think Jimenez has probably got the higher points potential for this game week. $6.8 in the bank. Any suggestions? That is a huge amount. I mean, I think if you're looking for an upgrade in the team, any mid-price midfielder to Son is a good option right now. Is Antonio a must and a Chelsea mid? At the moment, I wouldn't say Antonio's a must. I think if you get him in 4 weeks' time when his fixtures ease up a little bit, because his next 4 games are against the 4 teams that have conceded some of the lowest goals this year. So I think I try and get Son in if you can. If not, get Kane in. You could even go for Ronaldo as well if you're planning for the future, and Watford this week's a good fixture. Still consider captaining Son. Yeah, 100%. Very good fixture, and he's been in great form for the Spurs this year. Still playing FPL if you have 6.8k in the bank. That's insane. Do you think Christensen won't start? I'll pull up the predicted lineups by Fix for the Chelsea game. Also, we do have a 65% off code for Fix if you guys are interested. According to them, they have got Christensen at a 97% chance to start. So it does look like he should be set to start. It's just a lack of attacking potential, which is not ideal. Unless they're away, they may concede a goal. So if he doesn't get the clean sheet, there's not too much potential for extra points there. Mbeumo is my captain. It's a risky one, but if it pays off, then it'd be awesome. Start Rafinha or Jimenez. I think start Jimenez this week, Rory. Jimenez has got a slightly better fixture, and he's been in decent form as of late. Jimenez as well. Bench Huang or Saka. I'd probably bench Saka this week. We've benched Saka in our team at the moment and gone for the Wolves forward. Liverpool away is a very, very difficult fixture, and I struggle to start an Arsenal midfielder in this game.
Say the past 5 meetings stat.
What about it?
The Arsenal never won at Anfield in the past 5 matches, and they haven't scored more than 1 goal in the past 5 matches.
In Arsenal's past 5 matches at Anfield, they've never scored more than 1 goal, and they haven't actually won in their last 5 either. So there's not too much attacking threat for Arsenal at Anfield.
Salah has had goal involvements in every single.
Yeah, whereas Salah's been getting goal involvements in most of those games. Get Jota for Rafinha or Havertz. Probably Jota for Havertz, even though Rafinha's got difficult fixtures after his next 4. Havertz is just not it this year. He was projected at this start of the year to have a better breakout season, but he did not been it. I think Jota for Havertz could be a good play, and you'd also save a bit of money there as well. What about Azpilicueta, hold or sell? 10 game weeks coming in 33 days. So, yeah, it's tough with him. I think he's going to be prioritised for the Champions League. If we look at his projected starting, Fix have got him at a 10% chance to start this week. I think it's probably worth selling Azpi and going to another Chelsea defender that's more nailed, because if you're spending £6 million on a Chelsea defender, you want to know they're going to be starting for sure. Captain Ronaldo, risk rotation or Salah, Arsenal sole defence. I personally captain Salah. He's got a great record against Arsenal. And he's been in great form this year. I think it's too risky not to go for him. Will Foden play? At the moment, he's a 50-50. Fix have got him at a 50% chance, and City have said he's a doubt. So it's really going to go either way. I do think if he's fit, then he will be starting. There's no doubt that he will be starting in that team. But it is very 50-50 at the moment. I think if you start him, it'll be safe. And if he's not 100% fit, I don't really see him getting subbed on in that game. So you're going to start him. If he doesn't play, then you just get your bench option to come on. I think Chelsea are going to get a clean sheet. So you reckon he'll get 6 points? Yeah, well, if you're back in the Chelsea clean sheet, then 100% it could be worth a start. Start Smith Rowe, Townsend, or take a risk on Brozier. Between Smith Rowe and Townsend, City away or Liverpool away, I think City away is a more difficult fixture. So you favour Smith Rowe, who's been in better form than Townsend, against Liverpool away, which is obviously not the best fixture, but it's probably better than Manchester City away.
Yeah, sure.
So with 10 minutes before the deadline, guys, we are going to wrap up the stream for today. Thanks for everyone that tuned in. I know it has been a while since our last upload/stream. We have been very busy with exams at the moment. So we will be looking to upload 3 to 4 times a week over the whole Christmas period, plus doing a couple of streams as well. So there is definitely going to be a lot more content coming your way. So if you guys did enjoy the stream, don't forget to leave a like. We'll try and get it to 25 likes before we end the stream. That'd be awesome. And everyone, good luck with Gameweek 12. Hopefully all goes well. Hopefully you nail the captaincy picks. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.